3 years after the 72-hour war, Ambassador Deho stood in a chamber that looked very different from the old council room. The new Federation Hall was circular, with no elevated seats. Every species sat at the same level. Every voice carried the same weight. In theory, anyway. In practice, everyone knew who really held the power now. The proposal to establish mining rights in the Outer Rim is approved, Deho announced, striking the gavel. Around him, representatives from 15 species nodded in agreement. Not because they had to. Not because they were afraid. Well, maybe a little because they were afraid. Before we adjourn, Councillor Velrosh said, rising from his seat. He was no longer High Arbiter. That title had been abolished along with the old council. Now he was simply one voice among many, a humbler voice. Yes, Councillor? Deho asked. I want to take a moment to acknowledge an anniversary. Today marks 3 years since the end of the war. 3 years since everything changed. Velrosh looked around the chamber. I thought we were the pinnacle of civilization. I thought we had nothing to learn from younger species. I was wrong. He turned to face Deho directly. Ambassador, when your fleet could have destroyed us, you chose mercy. When you could have taken everything, you chose partnership. This is not the action of primitives. This is wisdom that my species, for all our age, did not possess. Deho nodded slowly. Thank you, Councillor. Though I wish we could have reached this understanding without the cost we paid. 43,000 lives at Hanbit Station. We did not forget them when we made our choice about how to treat your worlds. The chamber was silent for a moment. Everyone remembered Hanbit Station. It was required study now in every school across the Federation, a reminder of what happened when arrogance met ruthlessness. If there is no other business, Deho said. We are adjourned. As the representatives filed out, Chronicler Thex approached Deho. The old archivist had become the Federation's chief historian, tasked with making sure the lessons of the past were never forgotten. Ambassador, I have completed the full restoration of the ancient warnings. Would you like to see them? The ones about Earth? Yes, the precursor species left more warnings than we thought. All of them saying the same thing. Stay away from the Stormworlders. Deho followed Thex to the archives. The old data crystal played its message, fully restored now. The ancient being's face was clear, its terror obvious. We observed them for 3 cycles, the being said. We watched their wars. They fought with stones, then metal, then machines that could destroy cities. We watched them nearly kill themselves dozens of times. But they never stopped. They never gave up. Every catastrophe made them stronger. The recording showed images of Earth throughout human history. Natural disasters, wars, famines, plagues. Over and over, humanity was pushed to the brink of extinction. And over, humanity survived. Their planet tried to kill them, the being continued. Earthquakes, volcanoes, ice ages. They adapted. Predators hunted them. They became better predators. Disease nearly wiped them out. They learned to fight disease. Other humans tried to conquer them. They learned to fight wars that destroyed continents. The images shifted to show early space exploration, primitive rockets, dangerous missions. When they finally reached their moon, we knew it was over. It was only a matter of time before they reached the stars. And when they did, they would bring that fury with them, that absolute refusal to accept defeat. So we marked their system as forbidden and left warnings for anyone who came after us. The recording ended with one final statement. If you attack them, they will not stop until you are destroyed. If you threaten their young, they will show you why predators protect their offspring. If you wage war against them, you will learn that they have perfected war across millions of years of practice. Do not wake the Stormworlders. You will not survive it. Thex looked at Deho. Your species frightened a civilization that had existed for 100 million years. We frightened ourselves sometimes too, Deho said quietly. That is why we tried so hard for peace. We know what we are capable of when pushed. We hoped we would never have to show the galaxy. But you did. Hanbit Station left us no choice. When someone murders your children as a lesson, there is only one response. And yet you showed mercy. Because we are not monsters. That is the point, Thex. We can be dangerous. We are dangerous. But we choose not to be most of the time. That choice is what makes us civilized. Later that day, Deho visited Hanbit Station. It had been rebuilt as a memorial. The mining colony was gone, replaced by a park and museum. 50,000 names were carved into a wall of black stone. Dr. Unji ran the memorial now. She had survived the attack and spent the last 3 years making sure no one forgot what happened. "Ambassador," she greeted him. "Come to see the new exhibit? If you have time to show me." She led him through the museum. Displays showed the history of human-council relations, the rejection of Earth's petition, the warnings from chronicler texts that were ignored, the attack itself. "We show everything," Unji said. "The mistakes we made, the mistakes they made. We want people to understand how this happened so it never happens again." They stopped in front of a display showing the Velrani commander who had ordered the attack. He had been tried for war crimes and imprisoned, not executed. Humanity had abolished the death penalty decades ago and refused to bring it back even for him. "Do you think we did the right thing?" Unji asked. "Letting him live?" "I think we did the human thing. We showed that even our worst enemies deserve justice, not revenge. Some people say we were too merciful, that we should have destroyed the council completely." "Some people say that," Deho agreed. "But those people did not stand where Admiral Hayek stood. They did not have the power to exterminate entire species and choose not to. That choice, more than anything, proved we deserved to lead." In another part of the station, Admiral Hayek stood in front of the memorial wall. He was retired now, but he visited Hanbit Station every year on this day. His hand touched the stone. 50,000 names. He had memorized every one of them. "We did not start this," he said quietly to the empty air, "but we finished it. I hope you think we finished it the right way." He thought about the decision he had made during those terrible 72 hours. His fleet could have turned 12 worlds into ash. His weapons could have killed trillions. He had the justification. 43,000 dead gave him the justification. But he had chosen differently. "Justice, not revenge," he whispered. "That is what separates us from them." Across the Federation, in military academies on a dozen worlds, Jiwan taught the next generation of pilots. Human and alien students sat together, learning tactics that had revolutionized galactic warfare. A young Velrani cadet raised her hand. "Commander, I have studied the records of Operation Tempest. Your tactics seem reckless, dangerous. Why did you take such risks?" "Because we had to," Jiwan said. "We were outnumbered, outgunned. If we had fought the way the Council expected, we would have lost. So we fought the way humans always fight when we are desperate. We adapted. We improvised. We took risks. But what if you had failed? Then we would have tried something else. That is what humans do. We never stop trying. Never stop adapting. Never accept defeat." Another student, this one human, asked, "Do you think we will ever fight another war?" Jiwan looked out the window at the stars. "I hope not. War is terrible. But if we have to fight again, we will be ready. And more importantly, everyone else knows we will be ready. Sometimes the best way to prevent war is to make sure everyone knows the cost of starting one." In the Federation Council chambers, as the day ended, Daiho prepared to leave. A young alien cadet was waiting outside, part of a school tour. "Ambassador Daiho?" the cadet asked nervously. "Can I ask you a question?" "Of course." "My teacher says humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Is that true?" Daiho thought about his answer carefully. This was important. How humanity was perceived now would shape the future. "We can be dangerous," he said finally, "when we need to be. When someone threatens our families or our friends. But we are only dangerous to those who threaten us first." "So you are the most dangerous species?" "No," Daiho said. "We are the most dangerous species when threatened. There is a difference. A big difference." "What difference?" "We always try peace first. We always look for another way. But if peace fails, if someone forces our hand, then yes, we are very dangerous, because we have spent our entire history learning to survive impossible situations. It is in our nature. It is what our planet taught us." The cadet thought about this. "What if someone threatens you again?" Daiho smiled, but it was not a warm smile. "Then they will learn the same lesson the old council learned. That there are ancient warnings about Earth for a reason. That our planet forged us in fire and storm. That we do not know how to quit. That we will do whatever it takes to protect our own." He put a hand on the young cadet's shoulder. "But here is the important part. Here is what makes us worthy of leading the Federation. We could have destroyed the Council. We had the power. We had the reason. But we chose mercy. We chose to build something better. That is what humans do. We survive, we adapt, and when we win, we try to make sure the victory means something." The galaxy noticed when humanity went silent. For 200 years, human ships had traveled the neutral trade routes. Human merchants had visited the free ports. Human scientists had attended academic conferences. Human explorers had pushed at the boundaries of their quarantine space, always testing, always curious. Now, nothing. High Arbiter Velrosh first noticed it 3 months after Hanbit Station. "Where are the human vessels?" he asked his intelligence officer. "They have ceased all external travel, Arbiter. Their merchant ships have returned to their space. Their communications with the outside galaxy have stopped. All of them. Every single one, Arbiter. They have gone completely dark." Velrosh felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Unease. "This is coordinated?" "It appears so. Within a 2-week period, every human presence outside their quarantine space simply vanished." Fear. Velrosh decided. They finally understand their position. Good. Perhaps the lesson at Hanbit Station was not too harsh after all. But Chronicler Thex, still studying his ancient warnings in the archives, knew better. "They are not hiding in fear," he muttered to himself. "They are hiding in preparation." He tried to warn the Council again. They dismissed him again. Deep in human space, far from any trade route or Council patrol, Admiral Hayek stood in the largest shipyard humanity had ever built. It was hidden in an asteroid field that the Council had never bothered to explore. Why would they? Humans were primitive. They had nothing worth stealing. The shipyard stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Construction drones moved in swarms, building vessels that the galaxy had never seen before. Not exploration ships. Not merchant vessels, warships. Status report, Hyuk ordered. Colonel Sora stepped forward. She was lean and dangerous with eyes that missed nothing. "Construction is ahead of schedule, Admiral. We'll have the first battle group ready for trials in 6 months. Not fast enough. Sir, we're building faster than any human project in history. We have every resource in human space focused on this. I know, but every day we delay is another day they think they've broken us." Hyuk looked at the ships taking shape. They were smaller than Council dreadnoughts. They had to be. Humanity did not have the resources to match the Council's largest ships, but what they lacked in size, they made up for in design. "These ships are not like anything the Council has," Sora said, following his gaze. "We've studied every battle in the Galactic archives. We know how they fight. They rely on big ships, powerful shields, and overwhelming firepower. They fight like they have all the time in the world." "Because they usually do," Hayek said. "When you have ships that can crack planets, you don't need to be fast." "Exactly. But we're not building ships to trade firepower with dreadnoughts. We're building fighters. Fast, maneuverable, lethal. We hit hard and we move. We don't fight their way. We fight ours." Hayek allowed himself a small smile. "And what is our way, Colonel?" "Like we've always fought, sir. Like wolves hunting prey. We surround. We strike from multiple angles. We never give them a moment to breathe." Sora pulled up tactical displays. "Every human conflict in history, from tribal warfare to world wars, taught us one thing. Victory does not go to the strongest. It goes to the most adaptive." Across human space, the mobilization continued. Every nation on Earth had put aside their differences. Every colony contributed what they could. Resources flowed toward the hidden shipyards. Volunteers flooded the recruiting centers, but ships were only part of the plan. Colonel Sora had another mission, a quieter one, a more dangerous one. "Infiltration teams ready?" Hugh asked her during their private briefing. "Ready and deploying, sir. We have teams heading to 12 different Council worlds. Their security is tight. For military threats, yes. But humans have been working on Council worlds for decades. Translators, technicians, servants. The Council is so convinced of our inferiority that they never saw us as threats. Our people are already in place. They're just going deeper now. What's the objective? Intelligence gathering. We need to know everything. Fleet positions, defense grids, supply lines, command structures. But more than that, we need access." Sora pulled up schematics of Council military installations. "When the time comes, we need to be able to hit them where they're blind. Sabotage? Preparation, sir. We are not sabotaging anything yet. We are just making sure we can, when we need to." One of those infiltration teams was led by Daiho. The former ambassador had not returned to diplomatic work after the Council's rejection. Instead, he had volunteered for intelligence operations. "Strange career change," Sora had said when he applied. "I spent years learning their languages, their customs, their thinking," Daiho had replied. Now I'm going to use that knowledge to tear them down. Deho was on Velrosh's homeworld now, working as a translator at the Council's military academy. Every day he smiled and bowed and pretended to be honored to serve these superior beings. Every night he copied defense codes and mapped security systems. He was not alone. Across Council space, hundreds of humans were doing the same thing, moving in silence, learning everything. Preparing for the day when silence would end. Do they suspect? Yuk asked Sora during one of their video conferences. Sora was on one of the infiltrated worlds coordinating operations. No, sir. To them, we are still primitive, still defeated. They think Hanbit Station broke us. Her smile was cold. They have no idea we're inside their defenses. Meanwhile, Jiwan had a different assignment. She had survived Hanbit Station, and her recordings had become the rallying cry for every human in the galaxy. Now she was testing humanity's new weapons. The fighter she climbed into bore no resemblance to the old models. It was faster, more agile, and armed with weapons designed from centuries of human conflict. The Council had forgotten that humans had been perfecting the art of killing each other for their entire history. Ready for trials? The technician asked. Born ready, Jiwan said. She launched from the hidden carrier and immediately felt the difference. The ship responded to her thoughts. The neural interface was something human scientists had been developing in secret for decades. The Council thought humans were too primitive for such technology. They were wrong about many things. Jiwan pushed the fighter through maneuvers that would have torn apart older ships, loops, rolls, sudden direction changes that generated forces that would kill an unprotected pilot. But the fighter's inertial dampeners, another secret technology, kept her safe. How's it handle? The technician asked over the comm. Like a dream, Jiwan said. Like a beautiful, deadly dream. The Council has never seen anything move like this. That's the idea. Their ships are powerful but slow, built for trading shots with other dreadnoughts. Your fighter could fly circles around them. Jiwan grinned. Let me show you. She ran combat simulations against recorded footage of Council warships. The computer analyzed their movement patterns, their response times, their tactics. Then it threw those patterns at Jiwan. She tore them apart. Time to target on the dreadnought simulation? The technician asked. 40 seconds from engagement to hitting their bridge. That's impossible. Their point defense systems are designed to track missiles and torpedoes, not fighters moving like this. Jiwan pulled up her attack run recording. I came at them from 3 different angles in 30 seconds. Their systems could not track which target to prioritize. By the time they figured it out, I was already past their defenses. The technician was quiet for a moment. We're actually going to do this. We're going to take on the Council. We're going to do more than that, Jiwan said. We're going to win. Months passed. In Council space, life continued as normal. The ancient species traded and discussed politics and forgot about humanity. When the topic came up, it was usually with amusement. The primitive humans hiding in their corner of space, licking their wounds. On Nexus Prime, High Arbiter Velrosh hosted a celebration. 10,000 years of Council rule. 10,000 years of peace and prosperity. To the Council, he toasted. May the next 10,000 years be as successful as the last. In the crowd, serving drinks and going unnoticed, 3 human infiltrators exchanged glances. They had been working at Nexus Prime for over a year now, mapping every system, every defense, every vulnerability. The party continued late into the night. Nobody noticed when the human servants uploaded one final data packet to their hidden transmitters. Light years away, Admiral Hayek received the transmission. He studied the data for long minutes, then looked up at his assembled officers. We have everything, full schematics of 12 Council core worlds, fleet positions, defense grids, command structures, everything. When do we move, sir? Someone asked. Soon. Very soon. Yuk pulled up the tactical display. It showed human space and the vast expanse of Council territory beyond. Our fleet is ready. Our people are in position. The Council thinks we are defeated. Let them think that a little longer. How much longer, sir? Until the moment we strike. Not 1 second more. On Velrosh's homeworld, Deho received the coded signal. Operation Tempest was moving to its final phase. He looked around the military academy where he worked. All these arrogant beings so certain of their superiority. Enjoy your confidence, he whispered. You will not have it much longer. The attack began on a day like any other. No warnings, no demands, no chance to surrender. Humanity had learned that from Hanbit Station. High Arbiter Velrosh was in a morning briefing when his communications officer burst into the room, all protocol forgotten. Arbiter, we have reports coming in from across Council space. Our infrastructure is failing. Power grids, defense satellites, communications, everything is going dark. What? Velrosh stood. All at once? Multiple worlds reporting simultaneously. Velrosh Prime, Nexus Prime, Tekar, Selene. All 12 core worlds are experiencing system failures. This is impossible. Our systems have redundancies, backups, failsafes. They are all failing, Arbiter. In reality, they were not failing. They were being turned off. Deho and hundreds of other human infiltrators had spent 18 months mapping every system. They knew every password, every security protocol, every backdoor. Now, with synchronized precision, they shut it all down. On Velrosh Prime, as the power grid collapsed, Deho walked calmly to the spaceport. His mission was complete. Time to leave before anyone figured out what had happened. You there, a security officer shouted. Do you know anything about these failures? Me? Deho smiled politely. I am just a translator. I do not understand these complicated systems. The security officer waved him away, already distracted by another alarm. Deho boarded a shuttle and left the planet. By the time anyone thought to stop him, he was gone. All across Council space, human infiltrators were doing the same thing. Shutting down defenses, erasing security protocols, then disappearing like ghosts. On Nexus Prime, the lights went out. High Arbiter Velrosh stood in darkness for the first time in his long life. Emergency lighting kicked in, but it was weak, flickering. Get me answers, he shouted. How is this happening? We do not know, Arbiter. It is like the systems are being controlled remotely, but that is impossible. Our encryption is clearly not as good as we thought. Then the real attack began. Admiral Hayuk sat in the command center of humanity's hidden station. In front of him, holographic displays showed the positions of every Council world, every Council fleet. His own fleet, thousands of ships that the Council did not know existed, hung in space at the edges of Council territory. Status? He asked. All infiltration teams have reported success, Admiral. Council defenses are down across all 12 core worlds. They are blind and deaf. Their fleets? Still in standard positions. They have no idea what is happening. Hyuk took a deep breath. This was it. The moment everything changed. Send the signal. Begin Operation Tempest. Across human space, thousands of ships received the same order. They jumped to faster-than-light speed, heading toward Council territory. The storm was breaking. Juwon sat in her fighter, one of 1,000 in her attack wing. They were 3 minutes from Nexus Prime. Her heart was racing, but her hands were steady. All pilots, this is Strike Leader Jiwon. Today we show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity. Remember Hanbit Station. Remember the children they murdered. Make every shot count. A chorus of confirmations came back. 2 minutes to target. Prepare for FTL exit. The jump to normal space was disorienting, but Jiwon's training took over. One moment they were in the darkness between stars. The next they were above Nexus Prime and she could see the massive station hanging in space. All wings, engage. 1,000 human fighters screamed toward the station. Behind them, larger ships emerged from FTL. Frigates, destroyers, cruisers. Not as large as Council dreadnoughts, but there were so many of them. The station's defenses tried to activate. They failed. Deho's team had done their job perfectly. Council ships scrambled to respond, but they were slow. Their crews were not prepared. They had been at peace for millennia. They had forgotten what war looked like. Humanity had not forgotten. Jiwon's fighter group hit the first Council warship before it could even power up its shields. Human missiles tore into its hull. Human weapons, designed from centuries of human warfare, ripped through armor that was meant to be impenetrable. The warship tried to turn tried to bring its main weapons to bear. But G1's fighters were too fast, too maneuverable. They circled, the massive ship like wolves around a wounded bear, striking again and again. "Target their engines," G1 commanded. "Disable, don't destroy, we want them to know they lost." The warship's engines exploded. The massive vessel began to drift, powerless. Next target. All across Nexus Prime, the same scene played out. Council. Ships unprepared and disorganized were being systematically dismantled by human forces. The Council had numerical superiority. They had larger ships. They had more powerful weapons. None of it mattered. Humanity fought like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Multiple attack vectors, coordinated strikes, constant movement. The Council was trying to fight a traditional battle, but humans refused to fight traditionally. On the surface of Velrosh Prime, Captain Minho commanded the ground assault. He had volunteered to lead the attack on the Velrani homeworld specifically. This was personal. His ships descended through the atmosphere, heading straight for the orbital defense platforms. The same type of platforms that had destroyed Hanbit Station. "Target those platforms," Minho ordered, his voice ice. "Make them feel what we felt." Human missiles launched. The defense platforms without power could not even deploy countermeasures. They exploded one after another, raining debris into the atmosphere below. Minho watched them burn and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No joy. Just a cold, hard certainty that justice was being served. "Sir," his weapons officer said quietly, "we've destroyed all military targets. What about the cities?" Minho looked at the populated areas below. Millions of Velrani civilians going about their lives, unaware that their military was being destroyed above them. "Nothing," he said. "We do not target civilians. We are not them." "Sir, they killed our civilians." "I know, but we are better than them. We will show them the difference." High Arbiter Velrosh watched his perfect galaxy falling apart. Reports flooded in from every world, human ships everywhere, Council fleets in disarray, defenses destroyed. "Where did they get these ships?" he demanded. "How did we not know?" "They built them in secret, Arbiter. While we thought they were broken and defeated, they were preparing." Velrosh felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Real fear. "Can we stop them?" The silence that greeted his question was answer enough. "Chronicler Thex," Velrosh shouted. "Find Thex. Bring me that warning, the old one, about the Stormworlders." But Thex was already standing in the doorway, holding the data crystal. "You wanted this sealed, Arbiter. You said it was just myth. Just tell me what it says." Thex activated the crystal. The ancient being's warning played again, clearer now that Thex had spent months restoring the damaged file. "They are born on a death world. Everything on their planet tries to kill them. Weather, predators, disease, each other. They have spent millions of years surviving the impossible. Do not wake them. Do not threaten them. When they bring the storm to the stars." The transmission cut to static, then one final line came through. "Nothing will stop them. They do not understand defeat. They only understand survival. And they have survived everything." Velrosh stood in silence as explosions lit up the sky outside his window. "How long has this attack been ongoing?" he asked quietly. 72 hours, Arbiter. Every Council Core world is under assault. Every military installation destroyed or disabled. They have not touched civilian centers. Only military targets. Why not civilian? After what we did to them. Thex looked at the Arbiter. Because they are proving a point. They could destroy us all. They could exterminate every Council species. They have the power and the justification. But they are not. They are showing us that they are more civilized than we are. "We never should have attacked Hanbit Station," Velrosh whispered. "No," Thex agreed. "You should not have." Admiral Hugh watched the battle reports with satisfaction. Every objective achieved, every target hit, and most importantly, minimal Council civilian casualties. That was crucial. "Sir, we have completely disabled Council military capability across all 12 core worlds. They are beaten." "Good," Send the transmission. The message went out on every frequency, to every council world. Admiral Hayek's face appeared on billions of screens. People of the Galactic Council, 72 hours ago, we began Operation Tempest. Your military has been defeated. Your defenses destroyed, your fleets disabled. We have shown you that we have the capability to destroy you completely. He paused, letting that sink in. You killed 43,000 of our people at Hanbit Station. You murdered children because you wanted to teach us a lesson. Now we have taught you one. But here is the difference between us. We could have exterminated your entire species. We could have done to every one of your worlds what you did to our station, but we did not. We targeted only military installations. We spared civilians because we are not monsters. Another pause. The old council is finished. A new federation will take its place. One where no species threatens another with genocide. One where everyone has a voice. You thought we were primitive. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. But we are giving you a chance you never gave us. The chance to learn. The chance to change. The chance to survive. The transmission ended. Captain Minho liked mornings on Hanbit Station. He would wake early before his shift started and walk through the observation deck. From there, he could see the mining operations below, the cargo ships coming and going, and beyond it all, the stars. 50,000 people called this place home. Miners and engineers, teachers and doctors, families with children who had never seen Earth but still called themselves human. This morning started like any other. Minho grabbed his coffee from the dispenser and nodded to the night shift workers heading to bed. The station hummed with the familiar sounds of life. Someone's child was crying. A couple was arguing about whose turn it was to take out the recycling. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. Dr. Yunji found him at the observation deck. She was the station's chief medical officer. But more than that, she was the one person everyone trusted to tell them the truth. Beautiful view, she said, standing beside him. Every day, Minho agreed. Never gets old. Did you hear about the council decision? They rejected Earth's petition. Minho's jaw tightened. I heard. They also heard that they're shrinking our borders. That doesn't affect us though, right? We're deep inside quarantine space. This system has been ours for 40 years. Should be safe, Minho said. But something in his voice suggested he was trying to convince himself. The alarm started screaming 2 hours later. Minho was in his office when his second-in-command burst through the door. Captain, we have a vessel on approach. It's not responding to hails. What kind of vessel? Velrani warship, sir. A big one. Minho's blood turned to ice. The Velrani were High Arbiter Velrosh's species. They were the Council's military arm. Battle stations. Now. By the time Minho reached the command center, the Velrani ship had taken up position directly above the station. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of any human vessel. Its weapons were powered up and targeting Hanbit Station. Sir, we're being hailed, the communications officer said. Put it through. The Velrani commander appeared on screen. Like all of his species, he looked like living crystal shaped roughly into a humanoid form. His voice came through translated by computers, but the arrogance needed no translation. Human settlement designated Hanbit Station. You are hereby ordered to evacuate immediately. This system has been claimed by the Galactic Council for resource extraction. Minho felt like he had been punched. This system is inside human quarantine space. You have no authority here. The Council has authority everywhere, human. You have 2 hours to evacuate. 2 hours? We have 50,000 people here. We need time to organize transport to 2 hours. Anyone remaining after that will be considered hostile. Wait, Minho shouted. Please, we need at least 48 hours. We have children here, families. We need time to do this safely. The Velrani commander's expression did not change. You need time because you are primitive and disorganized. This is not our concern. 2 hours, Dr. Yunji grabbed Minho's arm. We can't evacuate 50,000 people in 2 hours. It's physically impossible. I know, Minho said. He turned back to the screen. Commander, I am begging you. We will evacuate. We will leave peacefully. But we need more time. Then you should have been prepared. The Council does not adjust its schedules for primitives. We are not primitives. We are people. We have families, children. Yes, the Velrani commander said. Children. Perhaps losing a few will teach your species the cost of defiance. The screen went black. What did he just say? Unji whispered. Minho was already running. Evacuate everyone now. Emergency protocols. Move, move, move. Alarms blared throughout the station. People poured into corridors, confused and frightened. Parents grabbed children. The elderly moved as fast as they could. The evacuation ships started loading, but they were too small, too few, too slow. Jiwon was in the pilot-ready room when the alarm sounded. She was young, only 23, and had never seen combat. None of them had. She ran to her fighter alongside the other pilots. "What's happening?" she asked. "Council ship," another pilot said. "They're forcing an evacuation, but this is our space. Tell them that." Jiwon climbed into her fighter. Through the cockpit window, she could see the Velrani warship hanging in space like a sword over their heads. She powered up her systems, her hands shaking. The Velrani commander watched the chaos on Hanbit Station with satisfaction. Humans scrambling like insects. This is what they deserved for thinking they could speak to the council as equals. "Commander," one of his officers said, "they will not complete evacuation in time." "I know. Should we extend the deadline?" "No. Fire on the residential sectors. Consider it a warning to the rest of their species." High above Hanbit Station, the Velrani warship's main weapons charged. They were designed to crack planets. Against a civilian station, they were beyond overkill. Dr. Yunji was in the medical bay, helping load patients onto evacuation ships. An elderly man who could not walk. "A pregnant woman, children, so many children, doctor," a nurse shouted. "We're not going to make it. There are still thousands of people in Sector 7. Keep loading. We'll get as many as we can." The first shot hit Sector 7. The explosion was silent in space, but inside the station it was hell. The entire residential sector simply ceased to exist. 3,000 people died in less than a second. Families vanished. Children playing in the recreation areas were there one moment and gone the next. The station shook violently. Alarms changed pitch, becoming more desperate. Hull breach warnings screamed from every speaker. Yunji was thrown to the floor. When she looked up, her medical bay had a gaping hole in one wall. The force field was holding, but barely. Bodies floated past the window. People she had known. People she had saved from illnesses and accidents. Now they were frozen corpses drifting in the void. She grabbed her portable camera and started recording. If she was going to die, the universe needed to see what the council had done. Jiwon launched her fighter as the second shot hit. She could see the devastation below. Fire and death. She activated her ship's recorders and began broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Hanbit Station," she screamed into the void. "We are under attack. The council is murdering civilians. They're murdering children." Captain Minho was in the command center when the third shot hit. His screen showed the death toll climbing. 5,000, 7,000, 10,000. "Get those evacuation ships moving," he roared. "Now!" But it was too late. The Velrani warship methodically destroyed section after section. They were not trying to disable the station. They were not trying to force surrender. They were killing everyone they could find. Dr. Yunji held a child in her arms. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, who had been separated from her parents in the chaos. The girl was crying, asking for her mother. "It's okay," Yunji whispered, still recording with her camera. "It's going to be okay." She knew it was a lie. Through the window, she could see the Velrani ship lining up for another shot. This one would hit the medical bay. "To anyone watching this," Yunji said into the camera, her voice steady despite her tears, "remember what they did here. Remember that we asked for peace. Remember that we begged for time. Remember that they killed children because they wanted to teach us a lesson." She held the little girl tighter as the Velrani weapon fired. Jiwon screamed as the medical bay exploded. Her fighter's damaged systems were failing, but the recorders were still working. She captured everything, every explosion, every frozen body, every act of murder. "Come on," she whispered to her ship. "Just stay together a little longer." The Velrani commander was satisfied. The humans had learned their lesson. He opened a channel to broadcast to the fleeing evacuation ships. "This is the price of defiance," his translated voice boomed. "Your species will learn its place. The galaxy belongs to those who are strong. You are weak. Accept this truth." He ended the transmission and ordered his ship to move to the next mining target. Behind him, Hanbit Station burned. Jiwon's fighter limped away from the devastation. Her ship was dying, but she was still broadcasting. The recordings were being picked up by human relay stations, spreading across human space at the speed of light. On Earth, in the military command center, Admiral Hyuk watched the footage. He saw the station burning. He saw the bodies. He saw the Velrani commander's message. He watched it all with a face carved from stone. When the footage ended, the room was silent. "How many?" Hyuk asked quietly. 43,000 dead, sir. 7,000 made it to the evacuation ships. 43,000, including children, because the council wanted resources and did not want to wait. "Sir," one of his officers said carefully, "what are your orders?" Admiral Hyuk stood. He walked to the window and looked out at Earth. Billions of people down there going about their lives not knowing that everything had just changed. "Contact every human world," Hyuk said. "Every colony. Every ship. Every single human being in the galaxy. Tell them what happened. Show them the footage. All of it. Sir, that will... Tell them," Hyuk repeated, his voice hard as iron. "And then tell them to prepare. We're going dark. Complete communications blackout except on military channels. No one talks to anyone outside human space. No one reveals anything about our activities. If the council asks questions, ignore them. They'll think we're preparing for war, sir." The council chamber stretched vast and cold, built from materials that shimmered with colors no human eye should see. Ambassador Daeho stood at the center, his boots clicking against the floor that seemed to shift between solid and liquid. Around him, in a perfect circle, sat the representatives of 12 ancient species. Each one looked down at him from their elevated seats, and none of them looked friendly. Daeho had practiced his speech for months. He had memorized every word, every pause, every gesture. Today was supposed to be the day humanity joined the galactic community. Today was supposed to be the beginning of something wonderful. "Honored members of the council," Daeho began, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I come before you representing Earth and all her colonies. We have waited 200 years for this moment. We have proven ourselves peaceful. We have respected your laws. We have stayed within the boundaries you set for us. Now we ask to join you as equals." A sound rippled through the chamber. It took Daeho a moment to realize what it was. Laughter. They were laughing at him. High Arbiter Velrosh, a creature that looked like living crystal formed into something almost humanoid, raised one translucent hand. The laughter stopped immediately. "Equals," Velrosh said, and his voice sounded like wind chimes breaking. "You speak of equality, little human. Your species has existed for what? A few 100,000 years? Some of us have sailed between stars for 10 million years. You have barely left your own solar system. You fight with chemical rockets and metal bullets. You are children playing with toys, and you ask to sit at the table with gods." Behind Daeho, standing quietly in the shadows, Yuna felt her jaw tighten. She was his military advisor, though the council had made it clear they found the concept amusing. "Military advisor for what?" they had asked. "For your primitive weapons?" Daeho did not let the insult shake him. "We may be young, but we have much to offer. Our scientists have made breakthroughs in silence." Velrosh did not raise his voice, but the word hit like a physical blow. "You will speak only when answering our questions. Do you understand your place now, human?" Daeho nodded slowly. Yuna watched her friend's shoulders slump just slightly, and she hated every creature in this room. The questioning went on for hours. They asked about Earth's resources, about human colonies, about their population. Every answer Daeho gave was met with dismissal or mockery. When he mentioned humanity's military capabilities, hoping to show they could defend themselves and contribute to galactic security, the entire chamber erupted in laughter again. "Military capabilities," one of the council members shrieked.
"They have military capabilities."
"Tell me, human, how many worlds have you conquered?" "None," Daeho answered quietly. "We do not conquer. We explore." "Precisely," Velrosh said. "You do not conquer because you cannot. You do not wage war because you are too weak. You explore because you have nothing else to offer." Far below the council chamber, in the endless archives that stretched beneath Nexus Prime Station, chronicler Thex was having a very different kind of day. Thex was not an important person. He was a low-level archivist responsible for cataloging old records that nobody cared about anymore. Most days he worked alone in the dust and silence, surrounded by data crystals that held information from civilizations that had died before his species had learned to make fire. Today, he had found something strange. The data crystal was old, very old. It had been misfiled thousands of years ago, buried under records of trade agreements and peace treaties. The crystal itself was damaged, its surface cracked and clouded. When Thex activated it, the hologram that appeared was fragmented and filled with static. But what he could see made his blood run cold. The hologram showed a being he did not recognize, from a species that no longer existed. The recording was clearly a warning, though large parts of it were corrupted and missing. Must never approach the system at coordinates, the being said, then static consumed its words. World of Storms were the very planet, more static. Fight everything, even their own world. Every day of their lives. Thex leaned closer, his multiple eyes straining to catch every word through the interference. Make war into an art form. The being continued, its expression one of clear terror. Studied them from orbit for 3 cycles, and what we saw. Static. They never stopped fighting. Not each other. Not their predators, not their weather, not their diseases. Everything on that world is trying to kill everything else, and they... The image flickered violently. They won. They conquered their entire planet. Every environment. Every challenge. And now, the crystal failed completely for several seconds. When it came back, the being was clearly panicking. Do not wake them. Do not contact them. Do not let them know we exist. These coordinates must be marked as forbidden space. If they ever reach the stars, the being's face filled with something beyond fear. Nothing will stop them. They do not understand surrender. They do not understand defeat. They only understand survival, and they have survived everything their hell world threw at them for millions of years. The recording ended abruptly. Thex sat in silence, his hands shaking. He pulled up the coordinates that had been partially visible in the corrupted data. His computer ran the calculations, comparing them to current star charts. His heart stopped. The coordinates matched a system in quarantine space. A system with a yellow star. A system with a small blue planet, Earth. Thex grabbed the crystal and ran. He had to tell the council. This was important. This changed everything. Above him, in the council chamber, the judgment was being delivered. The council has made its decision, Velrosh announced. Humanity's petition to join the Galactic Council is denied. Furthermore, your quarantine borders are to be reduced by half. You have become too comfortable, too bold. It is time you learned humility. Daiho felt the words like a punch to his stomach. Honored Arbiter, please. We have done nothing wrong. We have followed every... You exist, Velrosh interrupted. That is enough. Your species is violent, primitive, and dangerous. Not dangerous to us, of course. Dangerous to yourselves. We are doing you a favor by keeping you contained. Perhaps in another 1,000 years, if you have managed to civilize yourselves, you may petition again. The decision is final. Another council member added. Return to your homeworld, human. And be grateful we allow you even that small space. Yuna stepped forward, unable to contain herself any longer. You're making a mistake. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Did your servant just speak? Velrosh asked Daiho, his voice soft and deadly. She is not my servant, Daiho said quickly. She is my advisor. Then advise her to remember her place. Or perhaps we should reduce your borders even further. Would you like that, human? Daiho took Yuna's arm. We're leaving. As they walked toward the exit, Thex burst into the chamber, clutching the data crystal. Wait! Honored Council, I have discovered... Not now, Velrosh snapped. Can you not see we are concluding important business? But this is about the humans. There is a warning, an ancient... Enough! Velrosh's voice cracked like thunder. The decision is made. Take your old myths back to the archives where they belong. Thex watched helplessly as Daiho and Yuna left the chamber. He looked at the crystal in his hands, then at the council. Seal that record, Velrosh ordered. We do not make decisions based on the fairy tales of extinct species. The humans are contained. The matter is closed. Thex returned to the archives, but he did not seal the record. Instead, he made copies. Many copies. Something in his bones told him that the warning was real. In the docking bay, as they boarded their ship to return to Earth, Yuna pulled up a data pad. Her face was grim. What is it? Daiho asked. While we were in there being humiliated, I was monitoring our border regions. Council ships have been strip mining 3 of our colony systems. They've been doing it for months. That's impossible. Those systems are inside our quarantine space. They don't care. They think we're too primitive to notice, too weak to object. Daiho stared out the window at the massive Nexus Prime station, at the ships of a dozen species coming and going freely while his people were caged. Maybe they're right, he said quietly. Maybe we are too weak. Yuna's hand found his shoulder. For now. But not forever. As their small ship pulled away from the station, neither of them saw Thex in the archives below, reading the warning over and over again. The last line, partially corrupted but still readable, glowed in the darkness. Do not wake the Stormworlders. When they bring the storm to the stars, nothing will survive it. The Council had ignored the warning. They would regret it.